The time has come to bring on the champions. The start of City's title defence.
Manchester City equal the English top flight record. 3 in a row. It's no mean feat.
The Premier League is the most important and I would say difficult. And we love it. The Premier League is so special. The trophy itself is the nicest.
Jack Grealish scores! Manchester City score! On to Haaland!
Manchester City are champions of England!
The Blues kick off the new campaign in the Community Shield.
We lost 3 in a row. Do you know why? Because we won the Premier League.
Honestly, I'm not thinking I have to do the 4. Burnley will be the first game, so step by step. So it's going to happen.
The Premier League is back, following the success of last season, in which we saw a victorious Manchester City squad triumph 3 in a row in the Premier League. We turned Manchester blue in the FA Cup, and we were crowned Champions of Europe in the Champions League, claiming the title of treble winners. The trophies are here at the home of the champions. But where are you, FG?
Yes, thank you, Nat. Here I am at Turf Moor. Manchester City start their quest for a record-breaking 4th Premier League title in a row. We're starting against the Burnley side we've managed to beat 11 times in a row, and on the opening day 12 out of the last 14 have gone in Manchester City's favour. The atmosphere here is absolutely buzzing, and the atmosphere everywhere for City fans will be buzzing. Strap yourselves in, it's going to be an exciting season.
Welcome to Matchday Live. Oh, she's a beauty, isn't she? Not only are we joined by the Premier League trophy, we have, of course, the Champions League trophy and the FA Cup trophy as well. And we have 3 other very special guests as well joining us on Matchday Live. Nedum Onuoha, Gareth Taylor and Joleon Lescott. Welcome to you all.
Good to see you. Good to be back.
Evening.
Thank you for joining us. How are you?
Yeah, good. It seems like it's happening all over again. Yeah, we're back, aren't we? But no, it's good. You know, some people struggle through the summer. You don't see the football, so to get the first game of the season for your team to be on TV, like, it's good. It's great to have everyone back, I reckon.
Now, how do you feel about a Friday night for our first game, Joleon?
Well, I don't mind. Just start it up. I've probably had a week off, and then I'm thinking, now I want to watch football again. So, any night. I would have took it last night, to be honest.
A week is enough for you without
the games on telly. Yeah, then you're watching soaps and stuff. I'm like, get the football on.
Of course, as always, Matchday Live is the first place to get your team news today. So the second that we are allowed to give you City's team news today, we, of course, will. Gareth, your summer will have been a bit different this year, of course. You went out to Australia to see the Women's World Cup, of course, which is still on now. How did you find it?
Yeah, great. I was based in Sydney. It's hard to get round to see all of the games, and a lot of the girls were based in New Zealand, which was unfortunate. But Sydney was great people. The stadiums are really set up. You know, there's big support there. The first game, I think, was 72,000. And yeah, really impressed with the atmosphere over there. And I think, you know, the good thing is most of the games are being screened back here. If not every game is being screened, albeit at unsociable hours. But it was a great experience for me, and had to get back eventually to start the job with the players who were here to start working for another season.
Of course, because your team's back, apart from the ones at the World Cup, your team's back now. You're back in training already. Yeah,
absolutely. And again, you know, we were probably front-loaded in terms of a break before the World Cup for the players, and very difficult to give them extra time off. A few have been asking for a bit more. We've dropped out of the competition, as you know, as you're probably aware, guys are always like, wine, can we have a few more days? But I think it's really important that we check in with them to see how they are. If they need various bits from us, we'll make sure they're looked after. But I think it's important to get them all back together and get ready for another exciting season.
Of course. We are going to chat a bit more about the Women's World Cup later on. Of course, England playing tomorrow at 11:30am, a much better, more sociable time, thankfully, for the Lionesses game tomorrow. Now, you will notice as well that I am wearing our new away kit today. It's pretty nice, isn't it? I'm loving this new away kit. The team will be wearing this for tonight's game. So this came out this week, and I think 3 incredible kits that we've got ourselves this season as well. So we are going to give you team news in just a second. Matchday Live is always the first place to get your Manchester City team news. So
Do it now.
Are you
do
ready?
It now. Do it
Should
now.
we do it?
Do it now.
It's
Do it now.
time.
Let's go.
Here's your team news.
Yes, welcome to Pitchside and Matchday Live, your exclusive place to get the team news. And I can bring you the team news right now. So in goal for Manchester City today is Ederson. It's then Kyle Walker, Manuel Akanji, Nathan Ake, Rico Lewis, Rodri, De Bruyne, who's our captain, Bernardo, Foden, Alvarez, and Haaland. Substitutes for Man City today: Ortega, Phillips, Kovacic, Jack Grealish, Emerick Laporte, Sergio Gomez, Josko Vardiol, Cole Palmer, and James McAtee. Joining me pitchside is none other than Manchester City legend Sean Wright-Phillips. Sean, great to see you again, mate.
Lovely to see you as well.
What do you think about the team?
What can you not see about the team? I think the team's a fantastic team. Whoever plays in it, I think it's exciting times. I got here at 6 o'clock. You can feel the buzz outside the stadium already, and I can't wait for the Premier League to start, really, to be honest.
And what a place to start against Manchester City legend Vincent Kompany's Burnley side, who have been brilliant. We have beaten Burnley 11 times in a row, but that all goes out the window in games like this, doesn't it?
And 100%, it's the first game of the season. They'll be up for it. They've been back in pre-season early. They've been most probably working on a lot of tactical things, if you know what Vinny's like, and they'll be prepared for this game. And to be honest, it's a good way for them to start the Premier League. They see where they're at and what they need to possibly do better if things go wrong.
We see Nathan Ake starting today. He's playing centre half. It looks like Lewis is going to be the left back in the team. Do you expect Lewis to, of course, step up in true Pep Guardiola team fashion and keep, the players around him working and the unpredictability of him?
Yeah, well, you know how Lewis plays. He plays in a similar way to Cancelo, but more of a midfielder type rather than someone that just drives forward and creates and puts the ball in the box. So I think he'll be there to overload that midfield areas and cause a lot of problems.
And Kevin De Bruyne, we didn't get to see him much on tour when we were there, but he is back in the starting lineup wearing the armband. Does that mean he's captain of Manchester City? It probably does, and it's well deserved, isn't it?
That means I'm devastated because I wasn't sure he was going to start, so I didn't pick him in my fantasy team, so I'm raging right now.
I also had John Stones, and it didn't really go quite well. Fantasy has started, ladies and gentlemen. We've got the Super Cup coming up after today's game. How do you see this game going, and do you think Pep will have one eye on that Super Cup?
No, I just think we have to be positive and we have to take one game at a time. I think if you saw one of Pep's interviews, it was like we climbed to the top of the mountain, now we're at ground zero, we have to do it all over again. So today is today, we concentrate on winning today's game, and then on Wednesday we move on to Wednesday.
And we're also playing against a side that Pep said Burnley destroyed the Championship, so it's going to be a tough game. Let's get your quick score prediction, and then there is a special man in the studio. It's Joleon Lescott, and he's also with Nedum, if you want to pass a message on to them before we head back.
Joleon, I miss you, bro. We spent a lot of time together. I'm stuck here with SG. Come and help me out.
I'm sorry for you, Sean, but Nedum, mate, I look forward to seeing you in Greece, mate, and I miss you as well. Special announcement, Gareth Taylor in the studio as well. What a legend. Let's head back. Well, there's the team, and here is the new away shirt. What do you think, Sean?
I'm just waiting for my one. I don't see how you got one before me.
We need to get Sean in the away shirt.
Quick, someone get an extra small away shirt sent to Burnley for Sean Wright-Phillips. Did you notice as well how he got away? He didn't do his score prediction there. FG said, give us your score prediction, and Joleon, and he just
came direct to me. It's the love.
Just
the bond between us, to be fair. We've spent, pretty much every minute of away on tour together. So, yeah. And
did he bug you at any point, or was it okay?
Nah, it was good. It was good. We kept each other entertained, and that's...
Right, he's a cool guy.
Yeah.
Easy company, yeah.
Yeah,
very easy
definitely.
Company. Yeah, but was it SG or FG that you...
I don't know, mate. I think he said like SG.
We need to check
I remember on tour, then FG called me Nedum.
This did happen.
FG does love Nedum, though, to be fair.
He can, but don't call me Nedum.
Yeah.
I'll look after him.
So FG and Sean Wright-Phillips there, they are pitchside at Burnley ahead of tonight's game. The team is arriving, you can see them there. Perhaps a team that not many of us were actually expecting for tonight, certainly not those of us that play fantasy football. We are going to talk about fantasy football a little bit later on, and we'll tell you about the scream that went up from me when I saw the team. But in terms of that team news, Nedum, talk us through who you think... I can't believe it's the first game of the season, we're already doing this. Talk us through who you think the back four is. Or who they are, but where they're playing.
So you'd like to be Walker, Kanji, Ake, Rico Lewis. That's as a starting point. But I imagine Rico will be going into midfield to support Rodri, so you can have 2 6s in there. Then ahead of the ball, I think you'll have De Bruyne, you'll have Alvarez more central. Then you have Haaland through the middle, Bernardo Silva off the right, and Foden to the left. Have I forgotten anyone? Did I miss a player?
Bernardo and Phil, we're on the wings.
Yeah, that's my idea, but I have no clue. And that's the thing about, say, Pep. you can think it makes sense if you do something, but when the game starts, it's however he's seen the game, and for those players, how they'll read the game as well. But I think that's a starting point. Whether or not it finishes that way, who knows?
There's Guardiola, of course, arriving tonight. He is on the bench. Now, John Stones, Ruben Diaz, not on the bench. We don't know what has happened there. If we find out, of course, we will let you know. In terms of that back four, then, Walker, Akanji, Aki, Rico Lewis. We suspect Rico Lewis moving into midfield where we know he's comfortable. What do you make of the Ake, Akanji sort of centre-back partnership there?
Yeah, I think if that was the partnership for the season, I know people are anticipating John Stones and Ruben Diaz, but if they were the partnership for the start of the season or the whole season, we'd still be favourites to win. Do you know what I mean? I think they started last season. I think they played the first 10 games or so. So it's definitely not a bad or weakened partnership between them two. And if Rico goes into midfield, then Ake will be in a left back area anyway. So yeah, I think it's fine.
Yeah, Ake, of course, who had the phenomenal season. Moving up there into midfield then, Gareth, obviously we'll have Rodri, and then you're looking at Kevin De Bruyne back, which is fantastic. Bernardo, Foden, Alvarez and Haaland. How are you positioning?
Those are three.
Yes.
Well, we were discussing this previously. I think obviously Rodri is going to be in there, as we know. Kevin, I think, will be there as well with Alvarez, I think. So that leaves, obviously, I don't want to take away from... You're going to go to the front line with Nedum?
No, go for it, Gareth. Go for it. Strike
obviously,
in the studio.
that's obvious what the front three would look like, but I think there's various ways he could do it, for sure. I was more interested about going back to the defenders, thinking, well, will it be Akanji and Aki that start as centre-backs? I mean, Akanji played at full-back last week, so it just depends on the animation of where Rico comes from in terms of overloading the midfield, which we think it will be Rico. But knowing Pep, I wouldn't be surprised if he pushes Ake in there. So just completely throw Burnley off a little bit. You just don't know. But it's, he always keeps you guessing, Pep, a little bit. And I think his teams, when you see it like that, when you look at that team there, you pretty much know where players are going to be in terms of where on the pitch, but not exactly where.
Absolutely. I've got to tell you about the groan that went up. One of us took Foden out of the fantasy team with 5 minutes to go before the deadline.
I would do that.
God. We're going to get into fantasy football a little bit later on. So, of course, Pep loves to keep us guessing. But who does he think are going to be our biggest rivals this season? Let's hear what he's had to say.
Nice easy one to start with. How do you win your 4th consecutive Premier League title this season?
I don't know. Let's go. Let's start to Burnley with Vinny team, and I never ever in the past with the Premier Leagues we won in the past. I started thinking, what they have to do to win. It's far away. The focus is Burnley, Sevilla, and the next ones.
Does it make any difference whatsoever to you and your preparation and your team that it would be a 4th consecutive title this season?
Will not change much for the fact that what we have done, but it's a target. But the target, I never thought when I started to have to win this title or the other one. No, I learned from the past to enjoy today the training session after the fit yesterday and build up the team, as better as possible and see what happens. So I'm pretty sure during this season will be as every season a roller coaster. Will be ups and downs, and how much stable we are in the bad moments, get out of that position as quick as possible. And at the end, when you win, you deserve it. But it's simple as that.
Have you looked at the other teams yet to decide who you think your biggest rivals might be in this Premier League season?
As will be agree. If you say the names, I will be agree with all of them. We are going to say so. Everybody knows it. Liverpool will be back. Have been the biggest rival in my tenure. I think our tenure here, and United is back, and Arsenal, of course. So it was so close yesterday. Mikel brought Arsenal back to a position they deserve to be, and of course Newcastle arrived to stay, and Chelsea. Look what they have done with an experienced manager as well. So, all the teams, like everybody knows.
Just another Premier League season, yeah?
Yeah, that's true.
That's the thoughts of our manager, Pep Guardiola, earlier this week. You can see your Manchester City starting 11 is, of course, on the bottom of your screens. In terms of the subs, I think some really interesting people on the subs bench there, Joleon. Of course, Palmer and McAtee, who you will have seen up close and personal, of course, on tour, but also, obviously, for Cole Palmer at the England under-21s as well. So it's great to see both of them on the bench, and I think we're all really hopeful that they'll get an opportunity this season.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Obviously, Cole contributed Charity Shield. Maka was consistent in pre-season. So yeah, I'm sure if they're given opportunities, they'll produce and perform. And I said it's just a bit of a patient game now for both of them. Probably a bit more for Maka, if I'm honest, because he's played a whole season where Cole's still itching to kind of get regular football. Where for Maka, he's played a lot, so to kind of transition into a more important role or lesser role for the first team will probably be a little bit harder for him to do that.
Of course, two men that are starting tonight's game is Erling Haaland and Julian Alvarez. Again, one of us advised somebody in the studio not to have Haaland and Alvarez in their fantasy football team together. Again, just proving, goodness me, Nedum, I've had an absolute stinker. But it's so nice to see the two of them starting together.
Yeah, it is. It's something we've seen a little bit over pre-season. And like, you could see the potential that it has. I think when you look at the fact that, say, both can stretch the game, Julian can obviously come back in as well. I think for the opposition, whenever you sort of go up against them, it's almost like you almost have to prioritise one or the other. You know, are you going to allow the space in behind for Haaland to run into? Probably not. So then if you then take a step back, then there's more space going to be there for Alvarez, more space can be there for De Bruyne. And I'll be honest, like, that would be tough. I'd be saying to the people in front of me if I was playing, like, take him, and then you take him, and then maybe I'll take him. You know what I mean? Like, there are a lot of options centrally which could really affect you, and you need to make sure that you're on point because you could be punished by any of them at all. So it's nice. I think it's still developing. I don't think we've seen the best of it yet, but I think if it clicks into gear, I think it could really be formidable, to be honest.
It's a really energetic front line as well, Gareth, when you look at, I mean, we know how much Alvarez runs. He never stops running. Then Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden. I think these Burnley defenders are going to have a rugged time tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be a tough evening for them. But I think what they probably need to do is do exactly the same in that and bring energy at the top end of the pitch and put City under pressure. And I think that, you know, City really shone for the first half an hour in the Charity Shield last week against Arsenal, who tried to go and engage and press against them, and then they started to get a little bit more joy. So Burnley need to try and do that tonight. It'd be really interesting to see how they set up. I think they'll go after the game. We saw that in the FA Cup, and they were in it for a while. We were talking before that they were in the game, probably first half an hour, they concede, and before you know it, they really got picked off. So yeah, it'd be really interesting. But Alvarez is a top player. He's a top player, I think, to have in your team because he gives you so much with the ball and without the ball. You know, his energy is relentless.
As always, if you have any questions that you would like to ask our guests, we'd love to hear from you. Send us your WhatsApps and ask them absolutely anything that you would like to, and I'll get through as many of those questions as I possibly can. Now, we've got our man FG, who's at Turf Moor this evening. We've sent him around to catch up with some fans to see what they're thinking ahead of tonight's game.
OK, so it's only right we come to Turf Moor and we speak to some City fans. Keenan and Matty, you guys have travelled absolutely everywhere watching the Blues. Last season was a dream for us. We're starting today at Turf Moor. How do you see the season going?
Well, after the treble season, mate, what can we ask for? But obviously we're here today, hoping for a win, as we know. But I reckon got to be 3 points tonight, hasn't it? Got to be 3 points.
Expectations always high. Matty, I'll ask you real quick, what do you make of our new signings? Vardiol and Kovacic have stepped in. They could potentially both play tonight as well.
I'm absolutely buzzing with the Vardiol signing. Kovacic as well, exactly the same. Obviously, he's a great replacement for Gundogan, and I reckon he'll do well at the moment, but obviously we'll find out halfway through the season. OK,
here I am with Shook outside Turf Moor.
Yeah, come on, City!
Look how excited he is for the game. Are you excited for the match today?
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
What do you think the score will be today?
Maybe 0-5.
Oh, wow, 0-5. And who do you think will score the goals today?
Maybe Jack. Jack should be get us to go.
You're a big fan of Jack Grealish, right?
Jack. Super Jack!
Super Jack. Well, hopefully you're going to be making a lot of noise inside and enjoying the game. Come on, City.
Come on, City!
Legend. Thank you. Perfect. All right, back outside Turf Moor. Johnny, excited for the new season?
Massively, yeah. I mean, it's going to be hard to top last season, isn't it? But let's give it a go. Let's win all four.
How do you see the season going based on the fact last season for City fans and for world football was so big?
I think keeping all the Walker and Bernardo is massive beyond getting anyone else in. I think the team's there. Going to miss Gundo, but I think the team's there. I think we can kick on. I mean, it's going to, like I say, it's going to be hard to beat last season, but let's give it a go.
We are, of course, going to miss Gundogan, but we have got Kovacic in, and we've also got Vardiol in. What are your thoughts on the new signings and the recruitment so far?
It's top signings, aren't they? I don't know how to pronounce his name. Vardiol?
Vardiol, yeah.
I'll go with that. I don't know where he fits in. He's got the best defence in Europe. I don't know where he fits in, but brilliant. Bring it on.
You know what? I absolutely love the relaxed attitude of a City fan. It's not
great,
like the old days, a typical City. It's a great time to be a Blue. What do you think the score will be today?
We start slow, don't we? Start of the season's always a bit slow, pick up at the end. 2-1. I think we'll win tonight.
I think there's that element of the typical City as well. Johnny, great to speak to you.
Top man.
Enjoy the game, and hopefully we'll have a good season.
Top man. Nice one.
Thank you, mate.
And the sun is shining down on Burnley this evening. The sun has finally come out in England ahead of the start of the Premier League. FG down there at Turf Moor, bringing you all of the news. He will be pitchside, of course, all night as well. Now, we haven't actually had time yet to talk about our two new signings. So both of them are on the bench tonight. Of course, Kovacic and Vardiol on the bench. Hopefully we might get to see them a bit of action. But of course, Joleon, you will have seen Kovacic throughout pre-season. He played in all of those games. What did you make of him up close and personal?
Technically very sound. I think there were still probably a few patterns that were new to him, having a different system. So you could see there was kind of unsure of where to be and where to pass to. But he was expected. But in terms of what I hope and expect from him as a player, I'm so excited to see him because I think he's very underrated as a technician. I think to play for the teams he's played for and some of the goals he's scored, I think he's going to bring a different dimension. He's going to be able to bypass midfielders, and when you can do that as a centre midfielder, Gareth will know better than me, like it opens up the whole game. I think once you go past the midfielder with the ball in possession rather than passing it, I think it turns or transitions the game into a whole different dimension for Man City.
Yeah, because there was a moment in the Community Shield where he did exactly that when Arsenal had a chance, and then he had the ball, and I was a bit nervous, and then all of a sudden he's made a cut-through ball straight, and Haaland's got it at the other end of the pitch. So what have you made of have you seen of him so far, Gareth?
Yeah, I mean, there's something to be said for these Croatian players because for such a small country, they really generate so much talent, and you know we've signed two obviously very good ones. Kovacic is a bit more well known, been around for a while, but his acceleration with and without the ball is top. Good technical ability, like Joleon said, and I think he really fits what City are trying to do, and even more so with Vardiol. Is it a silent G? Is it? Because Vardiol?
I think
Vardiol. Okay.
You know what? I'm going to ask Alistair Mann because I've heard it pronounced Gavardiol and Vardiol.
Okay. Yeah, but again, another good player, really fits what Pep wants in terms of someone who's really competent on the ball, but also a good defender. So I think it's exciting times.
Gavardiol. Alistair Mann knows everything about pronunciations, and he tells us it's Gavardio, so we'll have the G in there. Very excited about this signing, Nedum. When we started getting linked with him, obviously you start becoming a bit of a YouTube expert, watching it. And I forgot he was the player in the mask at the World Cup, and as soon as I remembered that, I got really excited because he was phenomenal in the World Cup.
He played in the Euros as well, didn't he? Like the year prior, and he did well there, and it feels like he's been on the radar for, say,
but he's 21.
That's what I don't understand. He's so young. Like City signed like a really young player with huge talent, and his ceiling is so high.
With so much experience.
Yeah, exactly. To have that level of experience at that age, to be full international, and to be wanted by so many people, it's a huge credit again that the club have offered something which the player wants to be a part of. Obviously, some might say, well, it's a treble, but still, it's a fantastic signing. It's huge potential, and he comes in and he will get better and better and better in this environment with the players around him. He will continue to get better. Testing himself on a weekly basis in the Premier League will make him better. And it seems like City have gotten a real gem there.
Joleon, in terms of a defender's point of view, can you explain to us, we keep hearing that he's a left-footed centre-back, and we keep hearing that that's so rare in football these days. What makes it rare, and why is that attractive to us?
No, I think in terms of rare, I don't think it's as rare now, as rare as it was before when I was kind of playing. There was probably 3 or 4 in the whole league where I think most teams have now recognised it's needed balance building up. Most teams are playing out from the back, pretty much every team. So in order to go out to the left-hand side and him be able to play down the line rather than cut inside and be cut off and put the ball at risk, I think so that's kind of part of the requirements in regards to the build-up, but listen, what Nedum said is for someone so young and so much experience, that's unique to have. And yeah, you probably have to phase his way in the Premier League in regards to getting used to that. But the Champions League is established, so he can go straight into that environment and be comfortable.
I think he makes a good point, because there are lots of right-footed players who play on the left side who don't want to use their left foot, and you can sense it straight away. So you can make them uncomfortable by forcing them to go that way. And as a consequence, the quality that they'll have playing out from the back won't be the same as somebody who naturally receive the ball on their, say, outside foot or back foot and just continue to just progress up the field. It's a completely different look. Like, as I say, some right-footed left centre-halves, if you're playing right centre-half and I'm left centre-half, some people, all they see is this, and they refuse to see this because it makes them uncomfortable. Whereas with him, he can receive it this way and he sees it from this perspective. Before you know it, there's so many different options there which can sort of dictate how a team plays out from the back.
Oh, I like that. This perspective.
I hope that made sense to people. I apologise if it didn't, but at some point we'll make
clear as mud.
Yeah, clear as mud. Yeah. And this is the perspective. You got it. Yeah.
Yeah, I got you. Also, by the way, did you see FG again getting in on the sign? Guardiola signing video. Man's getting everywhere.
Gets where water wouldn't.
Everywhere. Everyone keeps saying he looks like him. Obviously, apart from the fact that there is about 1.5 foot difference in height there between them. When they stood together, we knew which one was FG, of course. But yes, Guardiola is on the bench today, of course. So is Mateo Kovacic. So we might get a chance to see our new signings today. Now, guys, we are excited to be able to announce that City have entered into a partnership with Warner Brothers to announce the launch of their new film, Blue Beetle. It launches in cinemas next week, so let's have a little look.
Mr. Reyes, you finished scraping the gum off that lounger or what?
They don't get out much.
I just want to rock. Jenny? Gareth, I bet you know why, but do not open it.
You went in to get us jobs, and all you brought back was a hamburger?
What the hell is that?
Herman.
This ain't what you want. This ain't what you want. What the?
Host acquired.
Okay, it's gonna be okay! Oh, my space. I just wanna rock.
It's called the Scarab. It's some kind of world-destroying weapon.
Whatever you can imagine, I can create.
Let's party. Yeah!
Nice choice.
I just wanna rock.
Yes, we all love a bit of merch in the studio as well. This is an action-packed DC thriller featuring a relatable young guy called Jaime Reyes who encounters an ancient relic called the Scarab, which transforms him into the Blue Beetle, complete with an incredible suit of armour capable of extraordinary and unpredictable powers. Here we go. I've managed to get myself a T-shirt. Nedum has a hat. And then we've got some other stuff. If you are a friend of my 5-year-old son, you can expect him to have a Blue Beetle water bottle in school next year, and probably a Blue Beetle
Have you got one,
notepad.
Nat, or are you taking that?
I'm taking that one, Joleon. Do you want the other one?
No, I'm just...
Nat loves the freebie, by the way.
I love a freebie.
Standard. Who doesn't?
Freebie. Joleon loves a freebie. Yeah. And I hear you love like a superhero type film.
Yeah. I'm DC and the other ones fan of both of them. I enjoy. I'm a big kid at heart, so Superman and Batman and stuff.
Sure, you get free tickets anyway.
Yeah, Warner Brothers now with Club in partnership, definitely.
Yeah, of course.
Freebies for plugging that. We're getting freebies,
Yes, we are loving the Blue Beetle freebies here in the studio. So get yourself to watch that film. It looks absolutely fantastic. Now, if you would like to ask our guests some questions, of course, as always, get yourselves on to WhatsApp. Get your questions in. Any sort of questions that you like, I'll get through as many as I possibly can. So we're going to go back now to Turf Moor, where our man FG is pitchside. He's going to be bringing us the Burnley team news.
Hello and welcome back to Turf Moor, where I can bring you the home team news, which is Vincent Kompany's Burnley to face Manchester City today. In goal is a former Manchester City academy player, James Trafford, and then it's Dara O'Shea, and then it's Jordan Bayer, Connor Roberts, Sander Burge, Lyle Brent Foster, Vitinho, Josh Cullen, Mohamed Zeki Amdouni, Amin Al-Dalkil, Luca Warwick, Cali Osho. Apologies for any pronunciation, but that is the Burnley team, and Big Steve is with me. Pitchside, let's start with James Trafford, Manchester City Academy graduate, really high rated. We've heard from Joleon, who's in the studio, about how good he is with his feet, and it's a massive opportunity for him tonight, isn't it?
No, he's a fantastic goalkeeper. We've seen with England in the under-21s and last season on loan at Bolton. You know, the Bolton fans were raving about him, you know what I mean? It was a bit of a surprise to see him go, but I think he's going to do well. He's under the manager here at Burnley, Vincent, and no, he's a great player.
And obviously, he's been through the Manchester City Academy. He would have seen Vincent Kompany being a leader of the football club that he was once under in a younger age group. How much do you think that played a part in him coming here? Of course, as well as the fact that he's got an opportunity to play Premier League football.
Well, if he's come through Manchester City's academy, he's looked up to Vincent Kompany as the captain of the club. Manchester City was Vincent Kompany. Vincent Kompany was Manchester City. He's probably looked and thought, you know what, I know him from training. He's probably had a chat with him. I mean, I think Vincent Kompany get me to do anything if he had a chat with me. But no, listen, you couldn't work under a better manager. And Vincent, I'm sure, he's happy. He seems to have got a bargain. And one of the best young goalkeepers in Europe. He can play out from the back. Vincent's obviously took his playing style to Burnley this year, so it's a perfect signing for him.
Now, we did play Vincent Kompany's Burnley last season in cup competitions. Do you expect James Trafford to be playing out from the back a lot more, or is it less risk sort of in a game like this and just, you know, clear your lines when you can, etc.?
No, I think he sticks to his philosophy, and I think he believes in it and he thinks it works. So I expect Burnley today to be totally different. I thought they did well at the Etihad last year. They pressed us well, but you've got to be 100% on your game to get at this Manchester City team. But they're playing at home. You've seen the atmosphere today. It's building up nice. I think Burnley's going to have a real goal. And Trafford, yeah, he's an important part of that jigsaw, so I expect him to just play his normal game.
And I'm sure we'll get some good analysis on Trafford from a man who spent so much time with him through the summer, Joleon Lescott. Let's move on real quick to Sander Berge. New signing.
Yep.
Seems like a really good signing. He's actually come from another team that got promoted, which is Sheffield United, and he's also very good friends with Erling Haaland.
No, he is. It's a shrewd signing. I didn't expect Sheffield United to sell one of the best players to a rival, but I believe his contract was expiring. He's a Norwegian international. He's big, he's strong, he's powerful in that midfield. As you said, he's a mate of Erling Haaland's, and I mean, I think it's a really good signing for Burnley. I think it takes them up a level. Sander Berge's played at international level. He's played in the Premier League before, and yeah, he's a good signing, good player for Burnley.
It is, and it looks like a pretty decent side for Burnley as well. We'll head back to the studio now for some more analysis.
Thanks so much to Big Steve and to FG. So that's the Burnley team news. Burnley playing 5 debutants this evening. So 5 of their new signings from the summer all make the starting 11, 2 also on the bench as well. Gareth, if you've made 5 new signings in the summer, obviously they've had pre-season. How easy is that to adapt as a team?
Well, it can be tough. There's no doubt about it. I think 5 is kind of on the limit of just being acceptable. But again, it depends how much time you have with those players. And I'd imagine with Traff as an example, it's with Joleon. It was at Bolton in the playoffs with Joleon, obviously at the big tournament that they won, and then so he's not really had a break. And then Vinny's going to want him in straight away. They signed him at Burnley, and so that's difficult. But I think it's just trying to get your ideas across as quickly as you possibly can. And sometimes when you're doing that, and he wants to play a certain brand of football, there's going to be errors, particularly in build-up play at the back. And I think it's really difficult, but the more you're together, and we're seeing that with this team that Pep's gone through, you know, the nucleus of the team is still there over the past few seasons. It's been really successful, and now what you're seeing in the summer is 1 or 2 in and out. That's magic when that happens, because it tells you moving in the right direction, and obviously the trophies really back that up. The less, I would say, turbulence you have of ins and outs in the summer, it gives you a real good opportunity to do well.
Player you mentioned there, James Trafford, let's talk about him straight away. Julian, of course, came through the Manchester City Academy, was on loan last year at Bolton in League One, Gareth says, who made the playoffs, and then with England in 21s in the summer before he was sold to Burnley. So, tell us everything.
Gareth will know him probably better than me. I've spent, obviously, this tournament with him and a few camps before that, but I don't think I've met a goalkeeper as composed as him. And I was saying to Nedum before, he wants to make big saves, wants to be involved, but doesn't want to be man of the match, where I think there's other keepers that you could relate that to and be like, he wants to show how good he is. He just wants to play. He loves the game. But in terms of his ability and his ceiling, play for any team, any league, has the capabilities to play out from the back, any distances. But again, just a presence. But such a young guy and a humble person as well. But yeah, Traff he's going to the top.
Of course, they had Muric last season, also came from City, who was their number one keeper last season. Obviously, they won the championship last season, so it's a big statement to bring in a young keeper and then to put him straight into the starting 11.
Definitely, but that's what Vinny does. He kind of recognises what he needs and what he feels will improve their team, and he's seen Trafford at that. And Arrow, nothing against him, know him as well, but Traff is and will be top. So I understand why he bought him. I should be on commission. The fact that Vinny was peppering me over the summer and the next day he's kind of made a bid. And we're like, Vinny, you're disrupting our whole camp here by trying to sign our goalie the day before our quarterfinals of European Championships. But no, in regards to the signing, it makes sense because I know how Vinny's trying to operate in Burnley in regards to the age they're recruiting, the fees they're trying to pay and how he wants to develop the club and the players that he's working with.
So we talk about them having 5 new signings today. Some of them obviously forced because they had quite a few players on loan last season. Teller, who was on loan from Southampton, got 19 goals in the Championship. And then Southampton have reclaimed him, Nedum, which I guess they're hoping he might do a similar job for them in the Championship. So they've replaced him. They have signed a striker, and it was Amdouni who they've brought in. He came from Basel, he's 22 years old, scored 22 goals last season. In terms of goal scoring, do you think he'll be an adequate replacement for obviously the goals they've lost from Teller?
What a question. Like, it's different, you know. We're talking about 3 leagues there. We're talking about the Swiss League. We're talking about the Championship. We're talking about the Premier League. You know, all 3 are so different. But I think Vinny, his recruitment team, they would have seen the potential. I don't think there'll be many players, if any, at Burnley that will be able to score probably 20 goals in the Premier League this season. No. It's very unlikely. But they need to contribute in whichever way that they can. So I think he would have seen that he's got the ability to score, but then he's obviously going to do a job for the team as well. And it's a shame for Teller, but you know, he scored last week in the Championship again, and no doubt he'll get another opportunity potentially this season to try and get promoted again. So it's the way football works. But I think it'll be good this year. Like, it's weird talking about a manager that I know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's Vinny. Like I'm expecting so much from him, even though he's not done this before. But I think he's definitely got a plan in place. He's very intense, and I think today will probably show that, because I imagine if the team plays in his image, there's not going to be much space afforded to any single one of those players today. So make sure you're ready for that.
Did you always know? Did you always know when you were playing with him?
He was going to be a manager?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, not necessarily a manager, but whatever he was going to do, he was going to give it 100%.
Minimum.
Yeah, like he's so determined. And I think I've said it before, like I went to see him at Anderlecht and like he'd been doing the job a month, maybe 2. He told me convincingly he was going to be a better manager than he was player. He believes that, like genuinely believes he'll be a better manager than he was player. I'm like, Vinny, you just started, like, and you were player manager. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he's so like determined to be good, and yeah, he's no stone will be left unturned. And like Nedum said, it won't be like when you associate Burnley with the Premier League in the greatest respect, you associate them with Sean Dyche and a style of play that. No way. This will be a very tough game for everyone. Probably not so much City because they're the best at playing the way that Burnley are trying to play now. But in regards to other opposition, it'll be a tough game because you'll have to be at it.
Of course, it's lovely to have people that, very first hand.
Weird position. I don't feel that old, but I'm talking about managers in the Premier League now.
Same, yeah. Luton, our friend Rob Edwards, I played with him, and it's literally. Friends, not just people I know. I know managers, but literally friends.
Yeah.
Literally missed a call from Rob on the way.
Paul.
Yeah?
Should you speak about him on any other network apart from this one, I'll be watching what you're saying.
About who?
You know what I mean?
About Vinny?
Yeah, I'll be watching.
He'll probably be watching.
Yeah, exactly. If they lose 10-0, it says, yeah, well, you know, they kept it below 11. You know what I mean? That's the way to do it now.
So they're talking about their friends that are in management. But will they be talking about their friends that play fantasy football come the end of the season? You've already heard me mention it a few times. And if you were in our studio about 6:30, you would have heard an audible audible groan that came from me when I found out that John Stones was not playing this evening, because John Stones is in my fantasy football team. We love FPL here. Of course, we do an FPL show as well, and we have our own FPL mini league. So our code is on the screen right now. Come and join us. We are in the league. Are you joining this year? We can't force you.
Nah.
Is it because you were rubbish last year?
What?
Whoa!
What?
One win.
This is someone that won. This is someone that won it. So obviously she's carrying.
That's like Pep saying to everyone, "You're going to join this year. You're going to participate in the league because you were rubbish."
I'd love it if Pep said that.
No
respect.
No way. Show some respect. That.
Okay.
I would participate.
I show you respect in the Premier League, but
to be fair, it gets to a point of where the games come so regular. I'm like, I don't even know what game week it is. I'm got to change twice in the week. I'm like, nah, I can't. I don't stay focused for that long.
Okay, if you've got more focus than Joleon, then the pin is on the screen now.
Please beat Natalie. Please beat Natalie. You better win this year.
I've got cocky, haven't I?
Very.
Yeah, I know. Gareth, do you play?
No, I've got enough on my plate.
Yeah.
He's actually trying to win the He's got a working job, full-time job.
Doing it for real. I wish you got time to spare.
Exactly, yeah.
Some of us sat here thinking we're brilliant managers because we play FPL. I know that you play because we've been talking about it for half an hour before we came on.
Listen, I'm just trying to enjoy my year, you know what I mean? That's just the way it goes, Nat.
You weren't like that at the end of last season when you were gunning for FG.
Well, I beat him, didn't I? So,
you did.
You know
did you come second?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
First loser.
don't do this. Don't do this, Johnny. Don't do this. I was bottom at Christmas. Don't do that.
Oh, well done.
Don't do that.
So in partnership with Axie, there's also going to be loads of prizes throughout this season as well that we're going to be giving away, from signed shirts through to match tickets as well. And we are going to be bringing you segments throughout the show. We do have a very active WhatsApp group as well with quite a few. Steph Horton's joined our league. That's pretty cool.
Bring her on. Bring her on. Yeah. She's going to be rubbish, but bring her on.
I hope you finish bottom.
No. Yeah, Gareth, you have to allow Steph if she's on her phone if there's a deadline coming up, because we take it
heavily
very
stacked with North East players. I bet Steph's team.
Oh yeah, of course.
We take it very, very serious. So yes, come along and join us. So thank you for sending in your WhatsApp questions. You sent some crackers in as always. So I'll try and get through as many as I can. So Mohammed has asked, hi, hope you guys are excited for the new season as I am. We certainly are. What would be the best way to link up Haaland and Alvarez, as a two up front or with Alvarez behind? I'll go to Gareth as the striker.
Well, I mean, they very much go in the two when they're pressing and engaging. But I think Alvarez probably gives you more problems playing in between the lines a little bit more. Certainly the point that Nedum was making before regarding if you're a centre-back playing for Burnley and those two are playing up against you, I think it makes your job a little bit easier. I'm not saying it's easy, but I think when you've got someone like Alvarez who drops into that kind of 10 position in between lines, he's going to give you a problem. Do I go in there? Do I stay? Then all of a sudden I go in there and I'm giving Haaland the space. So I think that's probably quite critical, his positioning, to enable either to get on the ball to free Haaland or to attract people then in order for Haaland to get some more space. So I think he's important really for City in the way they play.
Great, thank you very much for the great question there, Mohammed. Jacob Z has asked, with the treble success of last season, how does Pep make sure that the team stays motivated throughout what could be another long and exhausting campaign? And Jacob says, City till I die, from Nebraska, USA. Love that. What do you think, Joleon?
I think it's going to be harder than everyone anticipates. I think, I don't think there was enough credit given for a treble. I just think it was assumed because everyone anticipated, City, great team and just win every competition. But then when you do it, it's like, oh yeah, well, we thought they would. So it's not a surprise. I'm saying it doesn't really work like that. Like there's a lot of effort throughout the campaign to go into achieving all them goals. So yeah, I don't anticipate a treble this year, as great as that would be.
Quad?
I think four in a row. No one's done 4 in a row.
Yeah, I think that would be...
That's massive.
Equally as big as the treble to a certain extent, because I know the Champions League was the first time and great, but to do it 4 in a row...
Not many have done 3 in a row.
Yeah, after the back of a treble would be pretty special. So I think for the first time that Pep, the players, probably just take that. If you offered them now, you can win the Premier League and then see how the others go. I think a lot of them would say, yeah, snap your hands off.
I think a lot of the fans would as well. Of course, you can see all 3 of our trophies are in the studio this evening as well. Thank you very much for your WhatsApp questions. I'll get through some more at half-time. Now, if you haven't seen already, Together is back. I'm so excited by this. It's going to be a 6-part docuseries. It's currently in production. You can imagine there is a lot of footage that they're going through. And it's going to offer fans the complete inside story of our greatest ever season. I loved Together 1 and I loved Together 2 even more. So I can't wait to see this. Obviously, you know, it's full of unseen footage charting the immersive journey of our players and our staff as we experienced securing football's absolute holy grail. Wow, I cannot wait to see this. If you haven't seen the trailer yet, you're going to love it.
If we win the treble, yeah, what are you going to do with that? Because it's a treble, surely you've got to go.
They won the title last season, since added Erling Haaland to the mix. I mean, are they unstoppable this season?
Lights, music, go.
The time has come to bring on the champions.
This documentary is going to be the best ever.
Go.
She doesn't know her dad's Jack Grealish.
Cross comes in from another Foden, 1-0. Absolutely brilliant stuff.
I think we can go all the way.
We will get the treble.
They're in a proper title race here.
You will see.
What did you make of Man City? They're losing ground and Arsenal who are absolutely flying.
Doesn't look right, does it, at City at the moment?
Achieve things, always you have to have correct portion of obsession to desire.
First part of the season was great, but it's not enough, guys. We can beat them all.
The more relaxed I am, better I feel.
You want to play the final of the Champions League?
That's the best half of football I have ever seen.
Keep going. It's so good.
On towards Alvarez! We're all going to Istanbul! Manchester City look like true champions.
There is one treble. Premier League, Champions League, FA Cup.
We're going to play the final. It's been uncomfortable, guys. I am in Wembley Stadium. I am in Istanbul.
Might this be the biggest FA Cup final of all time?
I think they don't want to destroy the travel, guys. Every single minute we have to be there.
This guy's goal, the ball just struck perfectly, onto my foot.
Tomorrow we play for the immortality.
Will it be a treble or a seismic shock?
It's once in a lifetime, guys. I know how you dream. This situation, we are not going to leave it again.
Goosebumps, absolute goosebumps, and that was only the trailer. I cannot wait to watch that. Together 3 is currently in production, and I've got a feeling Jack Grealish's dog is going to be a standout star of that. You can tell already, but that just looks absolutely phenomenal. And you know something else that was absolutely phenomenal? Chloe Kelly's penalty in the Women's World Cup. Of course, it's currently taking place. England play Colombia tomorrow in the quarter-final. 11:30 a.m. UK kickoff time, which is probably the best kickoff time we've had so far in the Women's World Cup, so it's worked out really, really well. Gareth, can we just talk about that penalty? I think it was 111 kilometres an hour or something. It was unbelievable. And in that moment, in that pressure as well, it was phenomenal.
Yeah, I think you have to take your hat off to Chloe, the way she handled that moment. She looked really relaxed, really calm, and that technique she uses really generates power. We've not seen it for a while for us because she missed one against Barcelona in my first season and has almost gone to the back of the queue because we have some good penalty takers. We've seen Philippa Angadal score one in an important game today, you know. Never knew that Philippa was capable of taking penalties. So, yeah, it just surprises you. But, yeah, fantastic. I think, you know, that was a real pressure moment. They turned the impetus around because, you know, Nigeria were ahead in the penalties and England had missed their first one. So that would have given her a lot of confidence. And she stood up really well when it matters, Chloe.
I'm finding it's so fascinating, the World Cup. Of course, Germany went out in the group stages. USA went out far before anyone kind of expected them to, who were two of the big favourites. It seems like it's a really open World Cup at the minute.
Yeah, it is. But I think, you know, England were fortunate against Nigeria in moments, but it's about getting through, of course. I think Colombia will be a tough game. I managed to watch them in one of the games I was over there, and they're very attack-minded. I think they've got one of the best players in the tournament in Caicedo, the winger. Potent front line, can score goals, and they're very good at the dark arts in the defensive work at the back. So it's going to be a really tough game, that.
And they have a phenomenal fan base out there in Australia as well. I didn't realise how many Colombians lived in Australia, and their fans are incredible. In terms of England, Joleon, they haven't been up to the standards that perhaps a lot of people expected, but the fact that they're still in the competition is obviously a good sign.
Yeah, I think the group stages, they were good. Dominant performances. But when you get to the knockouts, it's not about performances, it's about winning. Slightly fortunate not to concede. I've seen the game. We tend to watch all the England games, me and my daughter. But in regards to the outcome, it's just about winning. And if you win, no one's going to remember how they perform. It's just going to be a case of, well, we've done the job and kind of got it over the line.
Could I ask a question?
Yes.
You see, for you two, obviously being involved in coaching and like management and stuff like that now, when there is a game where your team wins, but the performance isn't how you like, obviously you celebrate the win as such, but what's the feeling when you then go back to the training ground? Are you trying to address issues or just ride the momentum of winning to go into the next game?
You probably face it more regularly than me, but in regards to how we did it in the Euros, we were fortunate because we didn't have that too many performances where we weren't on top. There was a half against Portugal, which was pretty sticky, but the first half was so good, so we knew we could perform to that level, and it was just a case of tweaking the details to why we allowed certain things to happen. So we kind of played Portugal. The second half wasn't great. We knew that if we got to the final against Spain, that was going to be a similar style of play. So they're the issues we may face again, where in the semi-finals we're going to face a team that is going to offer something different. So it's not a necessity to kind of work on that. So you're just finding the...
I think it's a bit of both. I think you can use both if you've won and you haven't been so great. So, you know, the feeling and the atmosphere is good. But there's obviously some things that you potentially look at without really over-analysing it like you maybe would when you have a defeat. I think last weekend's Charity Shield game was really interesting, that City were pretty good most of the game against a decent Arsenal team. They looked like the game was done. You know, all of a sudden you got your hands on the trophy. The next minute, the momentum shift changes. Arsenal score their penalties, and now all of a sudden they've got their hands on the trophy, and they milked it at the end in terms of the celebration because they wanted to. We can use this momentum now to go into the season. What a start for us! I always think the Charity Shield's a real difficult one, and you guys may have played in them where if you win, it matters. If you don't win, it doesn't really matter.
So you have a story off the back of that. When we won the first title, we'd gone through pre-season winning every game, beat Inter Milan, and I think they were European champions at the time, and convincingly beat every team. And then we went into the Charity Shield, 2-0 up against United, second half, lost 3-2. And we used that as like a real wake-up call to, we're not where we think we are. And then we kind of went on a run of like 14 games unbeaten, but we used that to recognise that we probably aren't there. So, yeah, like I was saying, you can use it for each and every way you want to and get the best out yourselves.
I love that, and I'm sure the Lionesses, well, hopefully the Lionesses will use that after the Nigeria performance in their game tomorrow. So 11:30 UK time tomorrow, the Lionesses take on Colombia. Of course, best of luck to them and to the other Manchester City players that are still out at the World Cup. Now, we are less than 15 minutes, about 13 minutes away from kick-off. The Premier League is back. We're going to go back over now to Turf Moor. FG is there to give us his final thoughts ahead of the game.
Well, the players are behind us. They are just finishing their pre-match preparations. Big Steve, it's only right for us to talk about the man that we loved so much. We still do. He gave us so many great memories. Our captain, our leader, Burnley's manager tonight, Vincent Kompany. I don't have enough words to explain my love for him.
Me neither. Listen, he was captain for so many years. Everything about Manchester City, the mentality and everything that we started to change, it includes Vincent Kompany. You know, you look back at some of the games when he was focused in the tunnel. You look back on him now and you realise how much of a big influence on our football club he was. And looking around here, the big influence he is on this football club and all. And no, I miss him. I've seen him before and I was getting a bit choked.
We did both just see him before and we were sort of just a bit like, you're right, Vinny, mate. We didn't get anything back, but it's fine because we can just admire from the distance. Let's talk about when he first came to Manchester City. So he first came to Manchester City, and never in our wildest dreams did we think we were going to be getting the player that we did, and the leader that we did, and also the person that we did.
No, I mean, he played in midfield a few times when he first arrived. He was in defensive midfield, and then he sort of went back to centre half and sort of looked. I must admit, he didn't look the player he became. But he worked hard and dedication, and he just got what Manchester City was about. He got this football club, he got the spirit, he got the fans, and then we just bought into him, he bought into us, and he just rose. And then he became the man he was, and like you say, he led us to so many trophies and great moments. And even in times when we didn't play so well, you'd wait for the captain to come on TV and give you a speech. There's many of away games, he'd come to the away end and he'd say something, and we'd say, yeah, listen to the man, Captain Vincent Kompany, and he's a legend for this club, and you don't get statues outside stadiums if you're not a legend. And listen, I love the guy.
It was massively deserved. I remember being in the away end. We lost a few games away from home, and like you said, it would be Vincent leading the players over. Joe Hart was there, and I just remember the bond that he had with us as supporters, and still has, of course. Let's talk about him as a manager real quick, because by all means he's a legend, and he always will be for us, and he'll have a special place in every City fan's heart. But this man is a very, very good manager, isn't he, Steve?
Yeah, as you well know, a lot of big players in the game have gone into management and not quite cut it. He went over to Belgium. He had a bit of a mixed spell over there. Burnley, small Lancashire town. He's come here and he's put his stamp on the football club from the very bottom, the academy level, all the way up to the top. We've just seen a recent documentary been aired, and he's involved in everything in this football club. But he's an intelligent guy, he's a leader, he's got that mentality, and if you want anybody in your football club who can pick a football club and run with it, it's Vincent Kompany, and it looks like he's doing that here.
And we, of course, wish him very, very well, but not tonight, of course.
Not tonight, Vinny.
Let's talk about your final thoughts going into the game. How do you see the game going? Your quick score prediction before we head back.
Listen, we're Manchester City, we're the champions of England, we're the treble winners, we're here tonight. It's going to be tough. The crowd's up for it. Burnley have got the momentum. They got promoted. They're on a winning streak. They've been in pre-season quite early. I think it's going to be a tough game, but I think the quality will shine through, and I think Manchester City get the job done. I think we win 2-0.
Yeah, I am also very hopeful. I think it'll be 2-0 as well. We'll go for 2-0, both of us at pitchside, but of course Vincent Kompany to have a great season with Burnley is what we want to see. Let's head back to the studio where we can ask for their predictions and final thoughts.
Thanks so much to FG and to Big Steve. Less than 10 minutes away from tonight's 8 p.m. kickoff as the Premier League is back. You'll get your full match commentary on City Plus or recast with Alistair Mann and Michael Brown. Get yourself onto the City app. Now, if you're not currently watching the game you're watching us on there, so that you can get the commentary there with Michael Brown and with Alistair Mann. So, 2-0 predictions there. Nedum, how are you feeling, first of all, getting closer to the game, the nerves going?
Nah, to be fair, I'm not really nervous now. It's just so early in the season. Yeah. At this point, anything can happen, you know what I mean? It's not definitive, whatever happens in this game, but it'll be interesting to see how the teams have developed through pre-season. And I'll be honest, I'm really excited to see how Vinny's going to approach this game. He's faced City before and he got beaten convincingly, and I know that would have hurt him so much. So to know that this is the first fixture and he wants to try and start the season on a good foot, I'm very intrigued to see how tactically he's going to set his side up and see if he can get those fans right behind him, and I think he can do it. So I think it's going to be a tough game for City, but as is the case when you're playing away from home, first game of any Premier League season, in my opinion.
OK, don't give us your prediction quite yet. Gareth, what sort of game are you expecting tonight?
I think we'd be expecting a different game if it was Sean Dyche's Burnley. I think he'd probably use the fans to get right behind the team, and I think they will be tonight because, this is dreamland for Burnley. They're back in the Premier League. I think it's going to be tough for them. I think if it was a Dyche team, then, we'd probably be looking at the potential for the result to be maybe a stalemate. But I think eventually City will come through, particularly the longer the game goes on, because I think Burnley are going to have to be at their very best to even stay on a level footing with City tonight.
Of course, Burnley will be coming in with utmost confidence, though, Joleon, following the sort of huge success that they have last year. And the atmosphere at Turf Moor will be electric. Will that help them? Yeah,
you'd like to think they'll use that, but I don't know if it's going to help them. I think, strange as this may sound, I think the 5-0 defeat helps them, because I think if you haven't experienced that, you may think, oh, we'll be fine. We're coming off a winning season. We've played a certain way, and let's give that a go. Where I like to think Vinny's thought about that game and thought, we can't play that way, because most teams that want to play the way we play get found out, regardless of who you have. We've seen Real Madrid get found out. So for Burnley and Vinny to think that we'll be okay doing this and playing this style, that would surprise me more than if he's a bit more conservative in how they go about it.
There's a guy sat there in the Burnley end with a Manchester City phone case. Did anybody else just spot that? I think he's absolutely been busted. Right, quick score prediction.
3-1.
I like 2-0, but I'm going 2-1 because everyone else is going 2-0.
Okay.
I'll go 1-0.
1-0 to City?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Can't say otherwise on the sofa.
You said that a bit nervous there, Nedum.
No, I didn't. That's how you heard it. Maybe this is you.
Okay, yeah, well, yes.
What
Look
you, Nat?
at that
What do you
jacket.
think?
I think 2-1 to City. Yes, look at that. See how nervous I said that at the start of the season.
Exactly, I told you.
Beautiful, beautiful jacket there. Right, get yourselves onto the Manchester City app now for your full match commentary with Alistair Mann and Michael Brown. We will all be back with you at half-time. Enjoy the game, Blues.
The champions have the honour of beginning the new Premier League season, and they have an opening day fixture at Burnley, which means up against the Championship title winners.